Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. Today I have for you an Amazoness deck that was submitted by one of the subscribers, or a really good friend of mine, JujuBnz. He shared two Amazoness decks, and in his opinion, and I think I agree with him, this was the better version. The first version used this card over here, Amazoness Heirloom, which I have a prismatic of, and it felt a little slow. The effect was okay. We ended up switching that out for impenetrable attack. That increased the trap count, so we were able to tech in a Vision Hero Witch Rider, which came in pretty clutch, and it's a nice way of dealing with both back row and maybe some higher attack monsters that you can't get rid of. So for the rest of the Amazoness monsters, we have three Amazoness Swordswoman. The reason why you go with Swordswoman is because you're going to be running into a lot of your opponent's monsters, and you don't want to be taking all that damage. Instead, your opponent is going to take that damage, which is pretty good. We have two Amazoness Sage, so that we can destroy some back row in the process of attacking. And we have three Amazoness Fighter. You take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. Now I realized that you could arguably use the same deck in Holy Guard and not worry about having to use Amazoness Swordswoman and or Amazoness Fighter. But this is the way JujuBnz ran the deck, and for someone like myself who is a brick master, restart works so that I don't get a brick. We have three Super Rush, two impenetrable attack, three Wall of Disruptions, and then the main card of the deck, Amazoness Onslaught. Without this card, nobody would be trying out Amazoness again. We thought they had reached their potential until possibly Amazoness Village, but then this card came out and they're pretty good, man. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can special summon one Amazoness monster from your hand, and if you do, against 500 attack until the end of this turn. So that's a nice way of swarming the field or safe attacking. And what I mean by that is, like, you can swing with something first, see if you run into a Wall of Disruption or a Windstorm or anything like that, and then you can special summon another one from the battle phase to continue the attack, which is really cool. After damage calculation, if your Amazoness monster battle an opponent's monster while this card is already face up in your spell or trap zone, you can banish that opponent's monster. So the removal is just insane. It doesn't matter if they're attacking into you, it doesn't matter if you're attacking into them, their monster is going to get banished, and that's pretty great. If this card in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one Amazoness monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That effect did not come up for me a whole lot. Every time I went up against Sylvans, they literally never had the Kamashruma in the grave, so I never got to resolve that effect. But I think it's a good effect, and if you want to play around that effect specifically, or use that effect, you can throw things like not Cosmic Cyclone, what am I thinking of? Double Cyclone? You can use Double Cyclone, you can use Storm and stuff like that if you want to play around with the other effect. Now another card that I did not use, that I saw a lot of people using, where was it? I just saw it. Oh, this one right here, Amazoness Fighting Spirit. It's a really cool card, but if you want to have Amazoness Fighting Spirit and Amazoness Onslaught on the field, that leaves only one spell or trap card. So you're not going to be able to protect your monsters a whole lot if you're down to one slot in your back row. So that's why I think it's a good card, but not really in this build. But anyway, shout out to my boy JujuBnz again for sharing the deck, and let's go ahead and show you some replays. All of these games, by the way, were on Platinum, but he did tell me that this is the deck he used to reach DLV max. So if you guys are still struggling to get to level 20 or max level, you can try this deck out. It worked for him. We had a full back row. We keep the Amazoness in hand so that we can summon it during the battle phase if our opponent went into the battle phase, but he did not. And this is what I was talking about. He uses the Sphere Kribo on my Amazoness Swordswoman. Now, excuse me, he did that for two reasons. One, to protect his monster from getting banished, but also you'll see what the deck is, and this being in attack mode and my opponent taking the damage instead of me was just not good for my opponent. But I'm able to use my my trap, summon another monster, and banish away that Brotherhood Raven. He doesn't get a second Gyoku, which is really clutch. I get to save my impenetrable attack, but he did pin down my Wall Disruption. We're gonna see Mausoleum of the Emperor go into the Periton, double Hazy Flame Sphinx, no Betray, he gets a Cerberus. He uses the Cerberus to destroy my Sage. Cerberus is gonna get banished, so he gets no search. And then once he sees the impenetrable attack on my Amazon or Swordswoman, we see the Scoop Face, which I didn't totally agree with. I mean, I wasn't in the greatest of positions. He still had his field spell. I needed to top deck a monster, and you know, in order to gain control of the board. But he was kind of salty, I guess, and then he left. Next, we got a Bandit Keith. I used my restart because I wanted to start with the trap, and guess what? 4 monsters, and I have 9 in the deck, my boys. This is what I was talking about. However, the restart actually came in play in a way that I didn't expect it to. We're going up against Insect Queen deck. Pretty nice combo using Cerberus into Insect Imitation. But keep in mind, I had to use restart, and this was my starting hand. Amazon Swordswoman, Super Rush Headlong, another Amazon Swordswoman, and Wall Disruption. This Wall Disruption helped me more than if I had actually still had it in my hand. My opponent plays around that card for almost the entire duel. You guys will see. He gets a token during the end phase. I top deck the Wall Disruption. I don't know if he was hacking or if he was just playing around it because of the restart. But here we see him activate. I mean, not activate the Queen effect, or he does activate the Queen effect. No, never mind. He does activate the Queen effect here, but he does not attack. So I summon an Amazon Swordswoman. I didn't get rid of the second token because he was going to special summon another one, so that's just wasting time. And I only wanted to attack with Sage so I could get rid of the face down. But as you guys can see, I bring him back down to 1 token. He goes for Hey True Nade, and I had my toggle off because Amazon's Onslaught kept asking me every step if I wanted to activate, so I turned it off for like a second, and then I hit with the Hey True Nade. Scrub misplay on my part. It could have easily cost me the game. He's able to destroy both monsters, but he takes 1300 damage from attacking my Swordswoman. And then I set my back row once again, destroy the token, and get rid of his back row. He's gonna activate the Queen effect, get a token, and then he switches that into defense mode. I activate my Amazoness Onslaught. He decides not to not attack into the Wall of Disruption, and that pretty much gives me the win. I'm able to swarm the field with 3 Amazoness, banish the Insect Queen, and he's down to 1 card. So again, I'm not sure if he just knew that was a Wall of Disruption because he was hacking, or if he just saw it in the restart and decided to play around it the whole time. Either way, I got the W. We got My Valentine versus My Valentine. A Roman strategy. This was Sylvan's, I believe. So I just open up with the Amazon Swordswoman, set my 2 back row, Super Rush, and my trap, which is really good. We're gonna see the Merchant, and I get pretty lucky here. He doesn't really mill anything too important. He gets a Rose Lover, and then Hermitry, so nothing to destroy my cards, which is good. But he does get an Ultimate Providence, so I have to keep that in mind. I hit him for 2000 because I can special summon them in battle phase. We're gonna see what's the name of this thing? Lotus Swain, whatever. He's gonna mill 4 because I'm controlling 4 cards. He excavates the Martial Leaf, which is unfortunate, and then he puts that on top of the deck. He gets rid of my Amazon Swordswoman, and this is unaffected by traps. So because it's unaffected by traps, he attacks with it first. Being not really a mistake, he couldn't account for the super rush, but that plays in my favor because I'm able to use the super rush, destroy the big monster, and then banish his carrot weight champion when he attacks my fighter. Unfortunately, I don't top deck a monster, so that kind of sucks. And then he sets another monster. I keep not getting monsters, very unlucky. We're gonna see Marshall Leaf, Komatruma. Send a couple to the grave. I take 1600, but I'm fine with that. I could have gone for damage here and attacked into the Komatruma, leaving him down to 100 life points. But I wanted to get the Marshall Leaf off the board so that he didn't have something to suicide with. At least that was the thought process. Plus, I could run into the Komatruma and get a cheap 500 damage. However, he top decks another Marshall Leaf and doesn't activate the effect, so he wanted to keep whatever was coming. I used my impenetrable attack. He had the Providence that we knew about. Ends up suiciding. So there's one Marshall Leaf left in the deck for him, and it's gonna put in so much work that kind of triggers me a little bit. Oh, never mind. This was not the duel. This is a different duel. He's gonna summon Hermitry once again, and he makes the same quote-unquote mistake. He's attacking with Hermitry first because it's immune to traps, so he wouldn't get banished. But I'm sitting on another super rush, so once again he's gonna lose both of his monsters, and we're both in top deck situations. Very important that I'm banishing the card weight champion. He can bring it back, and I think that that played a lot into the way he had to play the rest of the game, keeping his Komatruma in the field and stuff like that. But I top decked the Amazonian Swordswoman, hit for 2000, and that's the game. Got a Yugi Moto. The duel I'm thinking of is the last replay. It was the second duel I had against Sylvans, which went down to the wire. But we'll watch that right after this Yugi Moto. We're going second. You really want to go first with this deck, and I kept going second. I decided to keep this hand because of the super rush once I saw that it was Destiny Heroes. And the reason why is because Destiny Heroes are all dark. So my thought process was, if I have one super rush, I can protect my monster for the entire turn, regardless of how many monsters he summons. But I end up top decking that third one, which is not great. You really want your Amazoness trap. I try to destroy the Celestial. He uses the enemy controller, and I'm actually okay with that because Celestial being in the grave, it's kind of a problem when they get to start drawing. He attacks with Decider. I have to activate my second super rush. Then I pick up an Amazoness fighter, switch them into attack mode. He still attacks. I'm very lucky that he doesn't have the mass change, so he's not able to protect the Celestial. And then I was super lucky that I believe this card right here is Destiny Hero Malicious. So it bricked his hand into not being able to use Celestial. I attack into a wall disruption, which is super unfortunate, but at least I get rid of the other face down. I just hit him for 0 attack just because I was kind of salty about the wall disruption. Sets another card, which I think it was a mistake. He sets a polymerization. I destroy that. And once again, he's not able to summon or set anything to get the Celestial effect. So I believe he had Destiny Hero Malicious in hand. Bad for him. I pick up Vision, Witch Rider or Raider, whatever her name is, and just win the game. Now this was the Sylvan duel that went down to the wire. I'm sorry my commentary is kind of weird. I just had these duels and I don't know, I couldn't remember what happened. Going up against Paradox Brothers using Sylvans. Going second again, which, as I say, you don't really like going second because you want to be able to set your Amazoness Onslaught. So because I have that card in hand, I decided to keep my hand. We see the wall disruption, which is unfortunate. He used it because it was going to get destroyed anyway, but I was kind of happy to not put the Roast Lover in the grave until I saw the World Carryweight Champion. So at this point, you know, I would have lost the duel, but luckily for me, I have the Amazoness Onslaught. He doesn't excavate Komashruma, which is very lucky for me. And look at my opponent's misplay. He attacks with War Carry Weight Champion. That's not a misplay. The misplay is that I guess Sylvan players are wired to always click yes. So when I special summon my Amazoness Swordswoman, that's 2000 attack, he redirects the attack, getting banished for like no reason. He's unaffected by traps because of Rose Lover, so he doesn't get banished. I have to use another monster in order to banish that, but I'm able to hit him for 2000. He's in top deck mode, and watch these godly top decks, my boys. Now I realize I think he rearranged his deck to put a Martial Leaf on top, so that's what he top decks, and that's not what my problem is. Another Martial Leaf off the top of the deck. So goodbye to my Amazoness fighter, and look at what he's doing. He's putting that Martial Leaf back on top of the deck. I believe that's what this card does. Yeah, he puts the Martial Leaf back on top of the deck. So it's gonna destroy my Amazoness fighter, hit me for 1500. I pick up another trap, which is super clutch. Tribute both of them and destroy the Martial Leaf, and then guess what? Summons the Martial Leaf that he put on top of the deck to get another freaking Martial Leaf. I was so salty, man. I was like, really? Like, you're gonna reward this player like that? He hits me for 15. I pick up a Wall Disruption. He doesn't summon anything. I don't know if he was playing around the Wall Disruption or if he didn't have anything to summon, but I end up surviving with 100 life points. And then I get the top deck of the Destiny, Amazoness Swordswoman, and finish the game with that clutch top deck. So I guess in the end, I out top decked him, but I still was kind of salty. But yeah, that's it for the deck list. Thanks again to JujuBnz for sharing this this deck with me. I hadn't gotten around building it, so his version is really good. I still think I might use Amazoness Heirloom in a different build, maybe during a stream or something, just so I can take advantage of this prismatic. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't. The link will be down in the description, along with my PayPal link if you guys want to support my channel, support my content. I really appreciate that. And until next time.